Welcome to the Settle for More podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Wright, and I have designed this space for you. Yeah, you, the woman who is ready to walk out on her fears, step into her dreams, and own her power by shifting her mindset from feeling not enough to taking action and to becoming more than enough whilst settling for more. Hey there, self-leaders and CEOs. Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Settle for More podcast. Here is what I know for sure. I know for me, the newness of the new year is wearing off, right? And I know it may be the same thing for you too. You've gone back into your work routine, the kids are back in school, and you're back in the swing of your normal life. And you may also realize that you're starting to become aware of your current reality. And I love this for you because you know what? This is indeed a great place to be. Awareness is actually the first step towards meaningful goal setting. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be walking you through just some reflection that you can start to really make some time for, to really get into what you truly want, the core of what you truly want. And so when you are aware of your current reality, it ensures that your goals are not just fleeting thoughts, but your goals are meaningful, your goals are fun, your goals are truly aligned with your life. You see, I heard this quote a couple of years ago when I was getting ready to deliver a goal setting workshop. And it was by Ken Blanchard, who said, "A person without a goal is often used as a resource by someone who does." This year, we're not going to be just mere resources. We are stepping things up. We are becoming self-leaders and the CEOs of our lives. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause this podcast and I want you to grab your pen and paper. That's the first thing I want you to do. Just carve some time out for yourself. Make sure that you're in a place and space where you can really digest the content of this podcast. And hey, don't keep this to yourself. I want you to share this with your mom, your aunt, your cousin Bev, your neighbor, your nieces, your co-workers, any groups that you're a part of, because together we can do really meaningful things in this world. This episode is the blueprint for making 2025 a year of intentional growth and achievement. 2025 is the year that you will thrive. And so if you follow the steps that we're about to discuss today, 2025 could be the best year of your life so far. This will be the year that you successfully achieve your goals, not just write them down and forget about them. I'm going to be guiding you through a process that is intentional, a process that is powerful, and a process that is actionable. So grab that pen, that paper, and make sure that you are sharing this podcast. And so a lot of us don't set goals. I used to be one of those persons who would just think about it. And a number of reasons prevents us, right? We're afraid of failing. We don't know how to do it right. We've done it all the years gone by and nothing has happened. And so if you're that person, what I want you to understand is that goals gives us direction. Or goals provide clarity. They give us focus and a sense of purpose and meaning. And so without really taking the time to craft your goals, it is easy for us to just drift through life without a purpose or without progress. So instead of advancing, what we're doing is we're repeating the same things over and over and over again. Whether it's your health, your career, relationships, or even the area of personal growth. Having a clear goal helps you to keep moving forward with intention, and it gives you a sense of a purpose. And so let's just start by doing a little bit of visualization, a little bit of visioning. And let's just say a year from now, we're having this conversation. Ask yourself, how do you want to feel in your body? How do you want to feel as it relates to your health and well-being? Just write that word down. Then I want you to think maybe about the relationships that you're engaged in. And what kind of relationships do you really want to nurture this year? Write that down. Just the kinds of relationships. A year from now, where do you see yourself professionally? So whether that's in your business, if you're a business owner, maybe you're thinking about a business, or if you're employed, what does that look like for you? Write it down. Then I want you to think about, how do you want to feel spiritually? What's that feeling that your soul is longing for? Now let's think about maybe your physical environment. What improvements do you want to make in your physical environment? Just write it down. This is your time, your space, your moment, your life. Think about financially as well. What are some things you want to achieve financially? And then I want you to think about that fun and recreation. Are there any hobbies or passions that you want to pursue? Think about that. All right. Now, as you think about really getting into setting goals, there are times that we really don't take the opportunity to consider certain things. And to make your goals real, it's important that you break them down into actionable steps. Right? What are the things that you're going to be doing as you think about that? Start by identifying small and manageable action steps that you can take each day. So, for example, if your goal is to improve fitness, a daily 10-minute walk could be a great starting point. So, what are the small steps? It's also important for you to identify, how are you going to be tracking your progress? So we get all those things together, the tools and the resources we're going to be using. It could be a journal. It could be a habit tracking tool or app. It could be weekly check-in with friends to monitor your progress. Seeing your achievements can really help to keep you motivated. So it's important that you determine from jump, how are you going to be tracking your progress? Something else that will help to make your goal tangible is identifying what accountability looks like for you. So who can you share your goals with that will hold you accountable? Find an accountability partner who will encourage you, who will challenge you. It could be a friend, it could be a coach, it could be a mentor, it could be your partner, your children, just someone that you know has your best interest at heart and will hold you accountable. It is also important for us to recognize that the goal is a goal for a reason. We probably don't have that goal yet because there are some challenges we may have encountered, or we know based on our habits and practices and rituals what challenges we may face. And so what I know for sure in my years of coaching and just having conversations or even experiencing or witnessing for myself is sometimes the first thing that we find that holds us back is our belief system. And so it's important for you to identify What are the limiting beliefs that are holding me back? Is it that you're not good enough? Is it that you failed before? Is it that you're not smart enough? Is it that you're not ready enough? What are those thoughts? And challenge those beliefs by replacing them with powerful affirmations. A belief is just that. Maybe it's an assumed constraint from past experiences that you've had, but be aware that where you're about to step into, you've never experienced that before. And so you're not able to predict the future. You can leverage the lessons that you've learned. You can leverage the lessons that you've learned by asking yourself, how can I reframe failure as a learning experience? So instead of seeing setbacks as obstacles, view them as opportunities to learn and to adjust your approach, because each challenge that you face will bring valuable lessons for us to be able to leverage. It's also important that in overcoming the resistance that we have as human beings, in addition to challenging the limiting beliefs, reframing failure as learning experiences, it's also important to identify what support system do you need to stay on track. Surround yourself with individuals who will uplift you, who will motivate you, who will just be a source of support for you, whether it's joining a mastermind group or seeking professional guidance or having regular check-ins with loved ones. Support is critical for success. All right, let's get into the fun part. Your goals should be SMART. I know you've heard this over and over and over again. And the SMART framework is a framework that actually works, right? It's all about how you define SMART. So let's do that together. Your goal should be specific. Be able to identify and define exactly what it is you want. The clearer it is, the easier it is to work with. And so it's not just I want to lose weight, is I want to lose 10 pounds by when, and what measures are you using to mark your success. Your goal should also be meaningful. Ensure that your goal resonates with your values and brings you a sense of fulfillment. If it doesn't feel meaningful, it is going to be very, very easy for you to lose motivation on that goal. Is your goal achievable? Ensure that your goal is realistic given the current resources and commitments that you have, right? So it's good to have stretch goals, but they should be achievable. Your goal should also be relevant. Relevant in the sense that you have aligned your goals with the broader and bigger vision that you have for your life. How will this improve or impact my life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 3 years from now? Your goal should also be time-bound. Set your deadlines to keep yourself accountable. So by when do you want to achieve it? And then work backwards with the goalposts, right? So if you want to do this within a year, how are you going to be tracking every month? What are some things that you're going to ensure are happening every month, right? So you have this 1 year goal, but you're going to have your monthly, I like to call them your mile markers. Being able to identify if you're on track or not. So month 1, what do you want? Month 2, month 3, month 4, and so on. When your goals are SMART, they really provide structure and clarity, making it easier for you to really stay focused and track your progress effectively. And so let's look at the different areas of your life. Let's go a little bit deeper into that, beginning with health and well-being. I want you to pause and ask yourself, if this is an area of focus for you, what habits do I need to adapt to feel healthier and stronger? Write those habits down. Then ask yourself, how do I want to feel? Really important, physically and mentally by the end of the year. Right? How do you want to feel? And a third reflection question could be, what routines can I incorporate in my daily life to support my health goals? And take a moment and write that down. And now let's move on to spiritual and personal growth. Really important. What practices will help me deepen my spiritual connection? Write those practices down. You may also want to ask yourself, how can I create more space for reflection and mindfulness this year? What are some things you're going to do to create that space? And probably another reflection question could be, what values do I want to align my life with? So what are those values that you know you may have been dishonoring for a moment? Now let's move on to career and professional growth. What skills do I need to develop to advance my career? Whether you're employed or you have a business. Another question could be, how can I create more opportunities for growth in my field? Here's a very powerful one that a lot of us struggle with. What steps will help me to experience greater work-life balance? Write that down. Now let's talk a little bit about relationships. And that is either romantic relationship or your friendships or relationships with your family. Here's a question for you. How can I show up more authentically in my relationships? Think about that for a moment. Another question in that area could be, what boundaries do I need to set to foster healthier connections? Connections that are deep, connections that are meaningful. What are some boundaries you may need to set? It could also be, what will I do to expand my current circle of friends? If that's something that you're working on. Here's one final one in that area for you. Who do I want to spend more time with this year? Identify that 1, 2, or 3, or 5, or 10 individuals that you really want to spend more time with this year. And then let's move on to an area that I'm working on this year, which are financial goals. And you could start off with something as simple as, how much do I want to save or invest this year? What's that number for you, realistically? And then we move into, what strategies can I implement to reduce, unnecessary spending? What are some things that you will do? Here's another question that could support you in that area. How can I increase my income through new opportunities or a side hustle? So what is that talent that you may have that you may be sitting on that if you were to start using that gift and talent, you'll be able to increase your income? Let's talk a little bit about your physical environment, because it's a reflection of your mental state, right? So let's talk a little bit about it. A question you can sit with is, how can I create a space that inspires and supports my goal? My goodness, so important, so important. What I know is that when my space is messy up, I'm in a totally off mood, right? And I don't feel creative. I don't feel innovative. I feel miserable, right? Here's another question for you. What changes can I make to feel more comfortable and organized? Are there things that you can change in your physical environment? Here's a final question in that area. What does my ideal living or working environment look like? What does it look like to you? Now let's talk a little bit about fun and recreation. Really important for balance, right? What activities bring me joy and fulfillment? What are those things that lights you up outside of work? Another question that you could ask yourself in that area is, how can I give back to my community in a meaningful way? How can you give back? Here's a question. One last question in that area is, what new skills or hobbies do I want to explore? What are those things that you want to explore? I'm going to pause and just give you an opportunity to think about it. Giving you an opportunity to really think about the area. And really dive into, what will it look like for me? And then when you've gone through the process, it's going to be important for you to really ask yourself, what do I truly want in this area? What do I truly want? What is it really? Is it that you say, I want to lose weight, but what makes that so important? What makes it so important? It could be because you want to increase your confidence. It could be because You want to be able to walk up a flight of stairs without running out of breath. It could be because you want to be around for the grandkids. Like, what do you truly, truly want? Because beneath the surface, you will find that there is the true meaning about what you want. And really identifying what excites you about this possibility. And maybe thinking about how will achieving this goal impact my life? Here's another question I want you to consider. Why do I want it now? Why do I want it now? So what has changed in my life that makes this important today? What has changed? Is it that my perspective has changed? Is it that my situation has changed? Right? And when you think about why do I want it now as a question, you could also ask yourself, what opportunities could I miss if I delay? What is at stake for me if I don't make a move on this now? What will it cost me to stay here? Here's a big one for me. How will I feel a year from now? Wow. If I don't start today, how will I feel? And let's just be real with ourselves and ask yourself, why don't I already have it? If it's so important, if I'm so excited about it, if my life will change, why don't I already have it? So what are the habits or behaviors or practices that have been holding me back? Then it's also important to examine our mindset. Are there any fears or doubts preventing me from taking action? Another question that you could sit with that will answer that why don't I already have it is, what skills or resources do I need to move forward? What do I need? Let's go a little bit deeper. What will change for me when I have it? So how will this goal improve my relationships, my career, and my overall well-being? Right? What's going to shift? What's that change? What's that shift? What doors will this open for me? Right? Here is something we often forget to do. We don't think about how we're going to celebrate. So how will I celebrate once I accomplish it? Write down your method of celebration, whatever that means and looks like for you. And it's important that you identify, by when do I want to get this done? Is it within the year? Is it within the first 3 months? Is it the first 6 months? By when do you want? What are the realistic timelines that you can set to achieve this goal? And remember, I said it in the beginning. What milestones can you establish along the way? What are your milestones? Yeah? Here is something else that's important for you to consider. How will I stay motivated? How will I stay motivated during this time? And so I want you to really spend some time reflecting as you listen to this podcast. It means you may have to pause it. You may have to go back, but it's got to be there for you. So take some time as you set your goals to reflect on the what you want, why do you want it, and what is one thing that you can do today to really move you closer. One thing within the next 24 hours. And remember that setting goals isn't about perfection, it's about progress. So if that one thing is to write it down, if that one thing is to make a phone call, send an email, create the time and space in your journal, what is your one thing that will say to you, when I've started, I'm on my way because I've done this one thing? I hope this helps to give you a sense of ease and flow as you think about the year that you want to experience, and most importantly, how you want to experience it. I want to thank you so much for spending time with me and for tuning into the Settle for More podcast. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend who needs to hear this. And remember that goals aren't just dreams, they are decisions. Today, I want to challenge you to make the decision to go after what you truly desire and deserve with intention. Because when you do, you are in fact settling for more. Until next time, we'll talk soon.